Hi, this is Hannah and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, thanks for visiting and I hope you'll subscribe. If you are returning, thanks for coming back and I hope you'll find today's project fun. So today I'm continuing my work on mixed media backgrounds. I've been practicing and trying to get better at developing these backgrounds. Today I'm going to be working with a piece of 4x6 handmade watercolor paper. I'm going to use like a smushing technique with some distress inks. I'm wetting both sides of my paper right now, and this is handmade paper, so it's not as thick as your normal cold press paper, but I found that it does accept a lot of water and it works very well. So that hasn't been a problem for me so far. I'm not sure what colors I'm going to use. I know I want to use salvage patina, so I'm going to start with that to lay down my background color. And once I get one color down, that normally helps me see where I want to go. You can drag your paper through if you want, but since I don't know what I'm going to do with these colors, I'm just going to use my acetate smusher to add the salvage patina in different areas. I'm trying to leave some white space. I have a tendency to overcolor my backgrounds when I'm working on them, so that's something I'm trying to correct. In between putting down these different colors, you need to dry each layer of color so that when you put the new color down, it will be layered on top of it and it won't sink into it because you're not really trying to blend the colors. You're trying to create texture and levels. I'm trying to make this video short because I'm reading that people don't like long form tutorials. I do. I like to see step by step. So, but I'm trying to edit this so that it's not too long, but that I don't leave out steps that I took in case you want to try to recreate the card. So, what I just put down was Uncharted Mariner. I decided I needed a darker blue and not just the three sort of pale blue greens. And now I'm using Rusty Hinge. I was watching some Lou Collins videos, and she does a lot of videos on how to blend these distress oxides, and I'm still working on my chart of all the colors that go together, but she does a tutorial on how to mix these colors. So she pointed out in one of her videos that Rusty Hinge works really well with the blues and the greens. And so I decided to try it on this card. I didn't put a lot on here, just a little, because I don't want a lot of color in this particular background. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep my area clean. It's difficult for me because that's not how I craft. I just usually create a mess, and then when it gets to the point where I can't function anymore, I'll clean it up. But here you can see how my colors are blending very well, and I don't have any bleed through. There's a little spot on the back. But I think this handmade paper is holding up pretty well. It was a promotional item for me, and I gave it a good review, so I liked it. Now I'm trying to use stamps that I've never used before, and this is a background stamp that I've had for a while, like a couple of years, and I've never used it, and I thought it would be great on this card. I probably should have dried this top layer again before I stamped on it, but it doesn't matter because the stamping that I'm doing now is not going to be seen because I'm going to stamp this image again on a piece of white paper, and then I'm going to use double-sided craft foam to attach the stamped image that's in white on top of what I'm stamping onto the page. But make sure that you remember to dry that final layer because it'll help you your image stamp better. And because paper, when it's wet, doesn't really like to accept stamps. But like I said, this isn't going to be seen, so it's really not that big deal. But I just want to get as dark an impression as I can, so that's why I'm giving it a couple of passes on my stamp press. But I think this is good enough. Like I said, it's not going to be seen anyway. All right, so we're going to do some more stamping now. I want to add some stamps to the background. So I've pulled out a script stamp. It's just a random script stamp that I had in my collection. Again, something that I had not used before, so I just sort of pulled out stamps that I never used, and I want to see if I could like use these on the project. I was thinking about using the Uncharted Mariner to stamp this, and I changed my mind. I'm just going to go with the Tuxedo Black. And I didn't put a lot of ink on here, and I'm not pressing very hard, so it's coming off as gray. Sometimes I'll use Hickory Smoke or Lost Shadow or a gray ink from one of the other companies whose ink pads I have to stamp my background text, just to give it that sort of faded look. And here I just want the stamp, the postage stamp image off the bottom of this stamp. So I just inked up the bottom part and pressed it down using the acetate because I wanted to get that image on there. And now I think I want to put some numbers on here. This is a stamp from my old Prima Engraver series, which was one of my favorite Prima series. And so I'm using that because I like the bold numbers and the shape. So that gives me a little more depth, because what you're trying to do with this is create depth, dimension, and texture by layering on different things like stencils and modeling paste. Now I'm getting ready to put down some texture paste, and I'm using these little Heidi Swapp mini stencils. I have had these stencils forever, and every time I purge my studio, I say I'm going to get rid of them, and then I just can't because they come in handy, and I do like the size. They are great if you're doing like ATCs and smaller cards. So I've just decided I'm going to hold on to them. They are just very handy, and like I said, the size is very convenient. I'm going to, before I put down my texture paste, I need to do some splatters on here, and I want to do the splattering in black. And I don't have a small container of black ink. I just have this big, huge quart size or whatever it is. So I'm just putting some black paint into a old medicine bottle, and I'm using a syringe to just draw up the ink and put it on my glass mat so that I can do some see. But this works for me. I don't really want to go look for bottles to put this in. This is going to work just fine. And then I'm just going to take my wet brush and use that. I usually use my little small fan brush to do my splattering, but these work just fine. I have a ton of these little brushes. I got them as a promotional item, and there are like 300 brushes of all different sizes. And so I've just been using them because I don't really care if I have to toss them. They're inexpensive, and to me, they were free. So I don't know if you can see the stippling. I'm trying to adjust the angle of the picture so you can see it. The thing about mixed media I found is you can't get too upset if while you're working on it, it looks horrible, because you're looking at it and you're like, "Ugh, what is this? And what is this going to be?" And so I found that you just have to wait. And I've just been watching a lot of mixed media people And as you go through their videos, you get to a stage where you look at it and you say, where is this going? This is not very pretty. But if you just hang in there and keep working with it, it will turn out to be something quite nice. So I want to put a little more texture paste. I think I want to do this whole side of this card with texture paste. So I'm going to just add another little, yeah, right here. I think this is good. I'm going to put it right here. I'm trying not to put down too much because I don't want it to be too thick. Just want a really light layer. Then I had cleaned up my studio and reorganized, and I knew I had purchased a whole new thing of texture paste, and I couldn't find it. So I ordered this jar, and then of course I was looking for something else, and I found that I had a like 64 ounce or some 16 ounce. I mean, it's huge. Yeah, 16 ounce texture paste. So I've got texture paste for life. I wanted to darken the edges of my panel up a little bit, so I'm just going around the edges with a little bit of the rusty hinge. And since I didn't put a lot of this color down in the original, it's perfect for doing the edges. Now, off camera, I added some string, and the string that I have, it's actually embossing floss, but the floss that I have, it matched the salvage patina perfectly. So I just wrapped it around my image that I stamped, and then on top I put another stamped version, and it's up there with double-sided tape. So I just sort of wrapped the thread around the double-sided tape in no particular order or design, just very random. And now I'm going to put this onto a black backing. And I'm putting down double-sided tape, and I'm going to put glue on top of that. So I like black backgrounds for everything. So this is going to look nice. I'm just going to put it on some cream colored cardstock and add my butterfly. And this is just a regular butterfly die. And I had some wallpaper scraps left from a wallpaper project that I did. And so I just took out one of my Tim Holtz butterfly dies that came with a matching embossing folder and cut that out. I cut it once with the wallpaper. I cut one out in craft foam, and then I ran the wallpaper through put it in the embossing folder and ran it through. And it looks nice on here. It sits up really high because the foam gives it that dimension. So it works really well. So I like how this is looking right now. I've got to work on managing the lighting on my camera so that it picks up the colors of my cards. And here I'm just really trying to figure out, because I kept trimming, so now I don't really have the size, like my standard size, but this ended up being 4¼ by 6¼ for my actual card base. And I'm using just label punch, the manual label punch, to create my sentiment. And the sentiment simply says, become the light. Because I think right now that's what we all are going to have to do. The world is getting a little dark, and we have to become the light in the world. So I'm going to send this one to a friend of mine who I think needs to be reminded that she is the light. So here's the finished card. As I said, I like the outcome. As I always like to remind people who watch my videos, I'm not a professional card maker. I'm not one of those people who's representing a company or has a graphic design background. I'm just a crafter, just like you. And so the things that I do here, the projects that I produce are just regular projects that any crafter can do. I think one of the things in our world, in our society, that prevents people from moving forward is this constant need to compare ourselves to other people and to gauge our success or progress through life by what other people do. So I make these cards. I hope that they inspire. I hope that you'll see something you want to do. But just know that every single card that you produce, because it is a part of you, it is beautiful and it adds beauty in the world and it adds communication and it keeps people talking to each other and reaching out to each other. And that's really all you need to do. So I just always like to remind people of that, that this isn't a contest, this is a hobby, and whatever you create is beautiful. And I hope you will share what you create. I have 2 challenge blogs, and I'll list them down below. We accept all crafts, scrapbooks, knitting, crocheting, whatever you do, you can enter it into our challenge, and one of our team members will come by and comment on it, leave a comment for you. And so I hope you'll join us and that you will share the work that you do. All right. Thanks again for stopping by, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.